Film Crew review Jojo Rabbit.
Rabbity roo.
It is indeed about a rabbit.
Hey team, Angus, Strachan here, and welcome to the Film Podcast. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Cane Dogs.
Thank you.
And the man formerly known as Broman Richards. This week, he is known as...
Hitler! No, I probably shouldn't do that
maybe
one.
not Hitler.
Probably not that one. Momo Rabbits.
Grab
No, that's actually pretty bad as well. Someone's at the fucking door.
Is it?
They're next door.
Oh. I was at the door next door. That's all it says.
Bro's gonna go kick the shit out of them for a moment. We'll be back.
Fucking tear them apart. Tear them asunder.
This week we are reviewing Jojo Rabbit. Cane Dogs, you want to whip out that IMDb
I
summary?
absolutely can.
Also,
do
Happy
that.
New Year. First
Happy
episode
New Year,
of the new
everyone.
year. We're back.
Happy new season of the Film Slice Podcast. We're into season 7. Coming at you wild and hungry.
Season 7. This is where it gets bad.
Yeah, well, we do 3 seasons a year. So,
That makes sense.
yeah. I mean, when you take all of the seasons of a TV show, they each do about 22 episodes a year. We've done 104. That's like 5 seasons. Math doesn't work.
Season 8, here we go. A young boy in Hitler's army finds out his mother is hiding a Jewish girl in their home.
Yep, there it is. Plain and simple.
Oh,
Slightly different for Taika's normal stance on films, I guess. But, I mean, you know, that's what you get with a bigger budget. You get to go back to Nazi Germany.
He did it the most Taika Waititi way ever.
He did.
It's still the most Taika Waititi film I've
He
ever
very
seen.
much did. Sweet, okay, we're going to do this super quick. Would you watch this or not if you were outside of the podcast? Watch it or not?
watch for Brody.
Yeah, absolutely watch it.
Yep, I would totally agree. Watch
That
it.
is 3 watches, an all-renowned
3
watch of a
watches.
film.
It's a real good watch. You should wear it.
Ooh, 3 watches.
Speaking of watches, this episode we are sponsored by... No, we don't have
Shoes.
sponsors. Please sponsor us.
Not sponsored, we just want to be.
We would take any sponsor. Seriously.
All right, would you recommend it? Who would you recommend it to? Is what we do after a couple of segments. So
Yeah.
we'll go into...
Don't even need to do it anymore, is it? Because we've replaced it in the segment that we've just finished.
We've just done.
That's true.
It's a new season and it's a new
season.
rigmarole.
I'm still hungover from New Year's.
When did you see the movie and what did you think?
That's the one.
When did you see the movie? What did you think? Do you like the movie? None of the shit. Starting off with the ladies' man, Angus Strachan.
I saw this movie 2 hours ago, just like you two.
Yeah, we all saw it together.
And I loved it. I laughed, I cried, all the emotions except for anger. No, maybe a bit of anger. That's my next door neighbors.
Next door neighbours. Fucking hate them so much.
I've never met him. They're
Yes,
probably lovely people.
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I've got to agree. It was very akin to a lot of other Taika Waititi films. His humour, he's kind of got it down. He kind of knows how to set it up, how to knock a
Knock 'em
joke.
down. Yep.
It's great. It's great
If you liked Thor Ragnarok or some of his earlier stuff like Boy or What We Do in the Dark.
What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows. That What
Very
We Do in the
subtle.
Dark
What
is
do you
something
do in the
different.
dark?
Yeah.
Don't Google that. Yes. If you liked all of those, this kind of slips right into
Yep.
his filmography.
Yeah, except Nazi Germany.
That doesn't slip into anything.
No.
I thought the film was fantastic. I wouldn't exactly say that I cried, but it certainly hit the emotions when it needed to. But it was overall really, really fun and enjoyable to watch. Absolutely loved it.
Excellent. Lads, you know how every week I put up on Instagram, without fail, what movie we're reviewing, and I ask our slicey slices out there what their thoughts are on the film, and normally, well, no one replies.
What you got in the mailbox this week, Angus?
Guess bloody what?
What?
We got a comment.
Oh!
We got a comment.
Yeah, but hold on. Is it Brody or is it
got a
someone just being
comment.
like, hey, we do sponsorships?
This is from J.I.Richards.
Hey.
Says, I thought it was... He says, I thought it was the best. Said with a clunky fake German accent in brackets. It's pretty difficult to make light of such an awful and devastating part of human history.
It is.
But satirizing a dictator like that was fantastic. As a comedy, it also didn't shy away from some harsh realities of the war as well. So it had a lot of integrity.
It was great.
Loved
did a
it.
Great job.
That is also a
Agreed.
J.L. Richards. That is an L, not a capital I.
Right, so it's a lowercase L for his middle name.
Yeah.
Well, Oh, and also a lowercase r. What do you know? Good omen.
Thank you very much, J.L. Richards. Don't know who you are, but thanks for running it.
Yeah, cool. Anyone hit you up on Facey? Diggity.
No,
Facey
they didn't.
time.
No one's seen this movie.
No.
Usually I ask whoever I saw it with, but in this circumstance, it's also you guys. So
I reckon this film is definitely a watch. Definitely a find the least about it as possible, and we'll go and watch it.
yeah, go in blind. So don't listen to this.
No, stop listening. If you haven't seen it, stop listening. Go watch the film,
And then come back.
and watch it and listen to this like 7 times.
Correct.
And then listen to all our other ones.
Yeah,
Correct.
All 104. Jeez.
Broadman, what
Okay.
have you got in store for us this week?
In store, we are returning to the most popular
No.
segment of all the segments. Slap it, number time! This time, we're doing a speed round.
Ooh.
Numbers 1 through 5.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
First person to guess the correct number gets slapped by the other person.
It's such a
In
dumb
this game, you do not want to be right.
You do not want to win.
And we're going to start off with a verbal game of rock, paper, scissors to see out of John and Angus who is going to guess first. Whoever wins has to guess first, which is what you don't want.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors.
Well, we usually do rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, okay,
Like,
okay.
rock,
And then
paper,
go.
scissors, shoot.
Okay.
Okay, start again.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Scissors.
Angus didn't say one.
Oh, sorry.
Angus chose rock, but he didn't say
That's
it.
rock.
Okay,
You know
so
what, Jordan
Jordan
wins.
is guessing first. He's guessing a number between
Wait,
1
but
and
I
5.
lost. Angus
That
won
is correct. Angus did win. Then
I
you do
didn't
not
say
want to win
anything.
in this game. I got so thrown off about Angus not playing verbal rock, paper, scissors and just playing regular rock, paper, scissors. Angus, you're guessing first, number between 1 and 5. If you get it
2.
right, you get slapped. Hang on, I better write down a number first.
Wait, no, hold on. Now you have to do it between 1 and 6, because you're not going to write down 2, which means you've given him a freebie.
He's written down 2.
That's a good point. I'm writing down a number.
So now it's between 1 and 6,
Yes.
because you're not going to make it 2.
I've written down a number. Angus.
2,
2 is not the right number.
6.
6 is not the right number, Jordan.
4.
4 is the right number, Angus.
God damn it.
Angus, you getting slapped.
Every time.
As like most of the previous times, please move the mic to the slapping area. Jordan.
I'm not sure if I want to go for the arse now. I'm thinking forehead. It's like a small slap on the forehead. If we could just bring this up towards Angus, stand up for me. We're just gonna. You just stand up.
Ow, my beard. He's pulling my
It's a
beard.
bit of a hold on, just a. There we go.
Amazing.
Ow.
Absolutely amazing. That was
Kids,
slappity.
Don't get slapped on the forehead. It's
Number time.
It's oddly satisfying.
It's more degrading than anything, I think.
It was like a
More-
shame.
Like
More degrading
the classic.
than being spanked.
If you're going for the
Angus is
classic,
used to being spanked.
if you're going for the classic slap on the cheek, try mix things up a bit and slap on the forehead.
That's fair,
It'll
that's fair.
it'll make your opponent just really sad.
I didn't even do it hard. It was just like a little.
Just like a little tap.
It
Yeah.
was just oddly disorientating, I feel.
Sweet. I guess that's what our Slices Slices thought of this
Yes.
week for Jojo Rabbit.
Let's jump into. I guess you usually do this bit.
All right, let's jump into spoilers. Let's do this. This podcast is going ace.
Oh, what a cool sound effect, Angus.
All right, we're in the spoiler section where we dissect and divulge everything about the spoilers. Watch out, we'll wage a world war on you.
I have got a cinema prick, and his name is Angus Strachan. For
Yo.
leaving his phone on the cinema, not even leaving his phone on, but leaving it face up
Yeah, that was my
on
mistake.
the armrest and on. So when he got a message, inevitably during the session, it was just like bloop and just lit up the entire room in my face.
It didn't make a sound though.
No, it didn't make a sound. What
didn't
did
make
make
a
a sound was
sound.
the 17 people around us moving around in leather seats.
Yeah.
It was like,
I
on a slightly
that
warm
because
day.
it meant my leather jacket didn't stand out as much.
Yeah, you're good. You're comfortable.
I have a cinema dick, which I imagine is probably the same cinema dick as yours, which is that when we got there were people sitting in our seats.
Yep.
They
Cinema Saint-
spread out as well.
Yeah,
They were
well,
like laying back. Their shit was in other seats across them. They were like, "Oh, these are your seats."
Especially since I specifically chose what I thought the best seats in the house were.
Yeah.
No one in
Good
front of
choice
us.
of seats, by the way.
Yeah. And they were just like, you know what? Best seats in the house? No one's probably taken them.
No one's probably taken
yeah,
these.
we
The
took-
thing that annoyed me, well, like, as you politely asked them to leave, and they did. They were even apologetic. great job. The thing that annoyed me is something that I didn't know I enjoy it, but it's the same as a toilet seat where I don't want to know someone else is sitting there. The uncomfortable warmth is uncomfortable.
It is a bit warm.
I really enjoyed watching Jordan trying to choose which seat to sit in. Because Jordan was like, well, those two were just sitting there. But Brody's behind me, so if I sit there, Brody will have to walk in front of me to sit in that seat.
Cinema Dick, Brody kept pushing on the recline
Oh, that was before the movie, I think you'll find, Jordan.
It hasn't
on my
stopped
seat,
me before.
on my seat, so that I had to keep, Brody just kept fucking adjusting my seat while I was trying to sit in it, and it was very annoying.
It was hilarious. The seats have electronic recliners, so you can just hold a button and it just moves up or down or whatever.
That's it.
And Jordan's buttons were right next to my hand. And my buttons were all the way on the other side of my body, so Jordan couldn't do it back.
And I didn't want to do it to Angus.
Cinema Saint, I have to say, is the three of us going and getting a family portrait in front of the D-Box.
Yeah.
One of my favourite pictures.
What a D-Box it was.
Head on over to the Instagram story for that little
that
cheeky
little
bit.
chestnut.
Right, let's get on with it. Most positive thing about the film.
Positive Jordan.
That's what they call him.
I think nope. I think the most positive thing about this film for me was the performances across the board.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff.
I think, who do we have? We had Sam Rockwell, who was fantastic.
Yeah.
Rock Samwell.
We had, Rock Samwell.
He was also good.
Taika Waititi, as usual, appeared in his own film, playing
Scarlett
Hitler. He did a
Johansson.
great job. Scarlett Johansson was a standout for
Is it
me.
Johansson or Johansson?
Yo, Hansen.
I think I say
Thank you,
Johansson. I say
For
Johansson.
summing that up.
Yeah, performances across the board.
Yeah,
everything was
even
fantastic.
the two younger actors and actresses that I can't remember their names.
we don't know.
They killed it. Also, definitely. My most positive was the writing. I think Taika Waititi has obviously done this before, but the writing is a good amount of great storytelling with awkward humor into it, and it's that awkward humor that kind of bring this almost fantastical world back into reality and kind of grounds it, which is things that he's done time and time again, and he's probably one of the only directors I can see pulling this film off.
This film is a tough subject matter to do a joking
it's such
film
a
about.
touchy subject, but he manages to mix the right amount of humor with the right amount of heart. It's quite amazing. It's quite amazing that he did. Broadman.
My favorite part, I really enjoyed the humor in this, just because it was just so many comedies really kind of drop the ball on their humor, or they try to go with the standard like, oh, this person's vomiting, all of that,
or get a
basic
comedian to just run off a few lines of ad lib and see what
all
sticks.
of that
When I
basic
saw
stuff.
Rebel Wilson in this, I thought,
when the Rebel Wilson
I'm not going to like this at all.
credit
But
came
she was
up.
fine for me.
She was great. She was great.
I think she was in there the perfect amount of time for her comedy.
Yeah.
It's just those little quirky one-liners that are just in there just to lighten the mood of something or just to add to a scene, but not as a main character.
I also love setting this in Nazi Germany and basically making fun of Nazis. I think is amazing, because when anyone really thinks about what the Nazis were trying to do, it's just so stupid. It's funny. It's just like that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. And so then just kept leaning into it as Jewish people have horns and wings and they sleep upside down. And it was just, whenever they're describing that stuff, I was like, that is so funny because that is so stupid. And they just kind of delivered it perfectly.
Yeah. Also, quick shout out to the balls of Taika Waititi for dressing up as Hitler and just making a fool of himself. That takes a lot. I don't know if there's any actor that would go for a role of doing that,
maybe
that kind of thing.
I reckon a Robert Downey Jr. would maybe go there just for his work as both Charlie Chaplin and also on Tropic Thunder, just not being afraid to take his some touchy subject
but it's
matter.
It's not a role that your average person would go
of course.
for. So
he'd probably cast himself for that reason as well.
Exactly.
Well, apparently they just couldn't find the right person to play it, and everyone who read the script was just like, Taika, you should play it. And he was just like, I don't really want to play it. And then he eventually said, I heard of great stories about him directing, because on stage he forgets what he's wearing.
Yeah.
So he'd be on set and he'd be like, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna be running from here to here, and you're gonna be and then he's just looking, and the people are just looking at him and look shocked, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm just as Hitler. And he's just directing his crew and his actors and stuff on set.
That's awesome.
I just love that idea.
This film is the first film in quite a while, and I'm even talking about Endgame and everything, the first film that makes me want to make movies, because it seems like such a fun film to be on the set.
It was well done across the board as well.
Yeah.
Every technical aspect was just top notch.
Yeah, it was just it just reminded me of like all the behind the scenes stuff. Like I would gladly watch all the behind the scenes again and that of this movie.
And all Taika Waititi's films seem like that. They all just look like they're having fun.
Just like
it reminds me of watching like behind the scenes stuff of Lord of the Rings and how much they all love each other and have like a really great on-set environment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. Loved it all around the board. It looks like.
Yeah.
Having said
The
that,
Monopoly board.
let's
Do you reckon
dive.
the Nazis had their own version of Monopoly?
Yeah,
Called
Natsopoly.
Oh. I'm not saying any more jokes.
All right, let's head into the most negative things about the film. What do you got?
Negatives.
Anyone got
I
some
can jump in
negatives?
if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
So, one of my least favorite things about this film is also probably one of the biggest spoilers about this film. So, if you have not seen this film, I'm going to urge you again. This is a second spoiler warning. Stop the podcast. Watch the film before you hear this.
Sound the alarm again.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hitler comes. Okay. So, my least favorite thing about this film is that they didn't really let the mother's death sit for very long.
Yeah.
Because I think that was one of the most confronting and amazingly set up moments of this film.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, it was done so well, and I was just like, oh man. And they could have, I think they should have leaned into it just a little bit more, not a huge amount more. I understand this is a comedy, but I think they should have lent into it just a little bit more, and it would have been like a really kind of heartbreaking moment. But when it kind of happened, they kind of get past it a lot quicker than I was expecting. And I think I would have just liked to just sit with that a little bit more, and it would have made this film really, really like profound, and it would have been one of those films where like everyone's like, you've got to watch this film for this thing. But I feel like they just skipped past it just a little bit too quickly, and then kind of went back into the rest of the film, and then the only time I really thought about it again is when he's tying his shoelaces at the end.
I think like that part definitely hit home for me, like seeing the shoes and stuff and having that realization, like again, such an awesome reveal to do, which is
definitely agree.
Something that like a lot of movies nowadays, they go for the brutal, they go for the beheading and not panning away, whereas all you see are her shoes hanging, and that like is such an immense emotional
such
pull.
a good setup as well. All those dancing
all the shots of her feet.
Amazing. Like that's an awesome way to do it. The thing which I will agree with you on is that they went past it a bit too quick after that, in that where he like stabs the girl in the shoulder and then just kind of breaks down. It would be good to see that go a bit longer, I think. Because like that's kind of that's a turning point to where now Jojo has no one to look up to at all. So it's kind of like it's time for her to become a woman, which is like what they were like talking about in the thing. Is like having to look after this kind of little kid. And I think that just didn't quite hit it for me, was that where she had to step up. She didn't, like, we didn't really see her step up at all, or like we didn't see that relationship become stronger because of what had happened to the mum. That was going to be my negative. So we're on the same line. Diggity, are you on the same line?
Yeah, I think I don't have a negative. I think the only negative I have, and it's not even a negative for the film, it's my concern that the things about this film that make it incredible are the ability to hit those really emotional moments, the ability to sort of chuck in the depth through the comedy, where it's like, this is a funny moment, but that's real as well. Like that stuff maybe takes just a bit too long to get there for me, and as a result, like, I'm thinking in terms of recommending this film to other people, like, for example, my parents, who asked if they should watch it. I see them sitting there, and maybe within the first 10 minutes of just seeing this very whimsical Hitler type thing, not understanding what this film is going to be about, and walking out before it gets there. But that's still a matter of, it's not even a real negative. This film is fantastic. I think, potentially it's going to be misjudged by people who don't watch it. I think the subject matter and the concept of, like, a young boy, his whimsical imaginary best friend is Hitler, you can be like, oh, that's in poor taste. And if you don't watch the film, or if you only watch the first couple of minutes of the film, I could absolutely understand that argument. But that's on people to see the film. I don't have a negative apart from the fact that the subject matter could be misconstrued if you don't watch it. Yeah,
definitely. I guess the Jojo's best friend probably fell maybe a little bit flat. Like, I
he was a weird comical release that you didn't need because every character has that.
Yeah, like I enjoyed him when he was on screen, but like the whole idea of this kid having, you know, his best friend that he always catches up with, and like his second best friend because Hitler's his first. You didn't really see him that much, and he was just there for kind of comic relief. So it would have been nice to see, like, again, a few more relationships kind of work for Jojo as opposed to just...
I think with his best friend, I think I would have preferred for his best friend to be just as fanatical as him, but less restrained. So if he's, instead of... Because his friend sort of thing is that he did actually make it into the military, but he doesn't really believe in the cause. I think it would have been a cooler contrast for Jojo sort of being this kid that wants to be part of something but not necessarily caring for the cause, and if his best friend wanted to be a part of it because he cared heavily about the cause. And then every time we saw the transition of his friend and he was in the military, instead of it being like, well, his friend's in the military but doesn't want to be, it'd be like, this is where Jojo could have been if he wasn't the child that he is. Like, if he wasn't just like a loving, caring child that wanted to be a part of something, if he honestly was angry about something.
Oh no.
We've got someone at the door, someone delivering a pizza.
Oh, go.
Who ordered the pizza?
Better have extra sausage. Yeah, I think it would have been cooler for his friend to be more of a fanatic, and that way it's more of a contrast of, because at the end we see his friend and he's in the war and he's like, you know, the actual war is happening in town and they're carrying like, you know, a rocket launcher type deal. Would have been much cooler if the friend was like, help me do this, like we're going to do it. And then at that point Jojo's gone from being someone that believes in the cause to being like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. That would have been a really cool contrast for me.
What this film really reminded me of is a throwaway line from a movie you're not going to expect. Captain America: The First Avenger. Throwaway line.
I don't want to kill anyone.
No.
I just don't.
No,
I thought it was.
It's a throwaway line from Captain America: The First Avenger. From the German scientist that turns Captain America into Captain America. He used to just be.
So you want to
Steve-O.
kill Nazis?
No, he says, Jordan, stop trying to guess.
But it's the
just
perfect
let me
line.
say. He says, a lot of people forget that the first country the Nazis invaded was their own.
Yeah.
And I've always really loved that line.
Yeah,
because until I saw that movie in like 2009 or whatever it came out, I was just like, oh yeah. And so I love this movie because in the same thing where it shows so many people who are in the military or who are kids growing up in Nazi Germany that are just like being indoctrinated into this ideal that they're just like, I'm German, so I guess I'm a Nazi.
Like kind Sam Rockwell's character.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell, who
he's actually not a bad person,
him,
really.
And the other soldier who also seem like they could be in like they have a bit of like a love for each other. And he's great, and he's I loved his best friend for that because his best friend really reminded me of what it was like to be a kid. And you just see your friends, like no matter where you are, and you're like, hey, and you just like run over them and just talk to them about random stuff. I really loved seeing him because it's just like, these are kids growing up in this world of like, of course they think of this stuff because that's what every single adult is telling them. And I loved all of those sort of lovely moments in this film.
Yeah. I think Sam Rockwell did
Sam Rockwell was so good.
Awesome job.
He did a great job of mirroring someone who's like...
He's just on the rise. He just like keeps on doing
and Alfie from Game of Thrones. It was great. And
But Sam Rockwell did a great job of playing someone who's like, I guess, like our country's at war, so I guess if I'm a patriot for our country, we're at war. I guess, look, do you want to kill Jews? I don't, like, sure, I guess that's what we're about. Like,
he actually becomes like one of the biggest heroes in the film. He full on saves Jojo's life. Like he knows he's dead, but he uses his one last minute on Earth to save this little kid.
And he also knows that their family is hiding a Jewish girl, and he chooses.
What I like is this film, because this film obviously makes fun of Hitler a lot, and that's great. But I do like that they were a bit more sensitive in not just declaring everyone that fought on the Nazi side as being like this Nazi dumbass that thought all Jewish people had horns and stuff like that. Like some of them were just people that thought they had to fight for their country. Sam Rockwell's character. Like they didn't paint every Nazi as a villain. They just painted them as someone who was being forced to be on one side of the war instead of another.
Definitely.
And that's what Sam Rockwell's character personified really well. As someone who's not like, I'm all for the cause. He's just like, if I want to be part of this country, I guess I have to, this is who I am now. Like, I liked that.
Yeah, I agree. They and I agree. They made Hitler like a caricature of himself. Like they made fun of him. But there are also some moments where he did actually get like scary. Like he was yelling at Jojo, and like I think that was great on Taika Waititi's part of like bringing out that like if you watch documentaries of Hitler like addressing crowds and stuff, like he is yelling and he's so like
he's dominating,
amped up and everything. And to see that and to make that into like a scary thing, like Jojo's now, he's a Nazi, but because he's being forced to be a Nazi now and all that. Yeah, like there's a lot of like for a director to be so immature but like poignant in certain like social
well, he wrote the whole thing
like,
as well, so he's done a good job.
It's like such a balance, and he's just walked it perfectly.
Reminds me a lot of good stand-up comedians that tackle things like politics, where it's like, this is something ridiculous, but behind this joke is a very succinct point that I'm making.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole film more or less is.
Definitely, yeah, 100%. Can't wait to see what he does next.
Yep, Jojo Rabbit 2, The Return of Hitler.
Well, he's doing
guys.
He's doing another Thor film, I think.
Is he?
Yeah.
So like Thunderstruck.
Which is interesting because he said that he didn't want to do another Marvel movie ever, but they probably just offered him
also money.
Twice as much as the first one.
Creative freedom that comes with massive budget.
Because I imagine Jojo Rabbit was made because he did Thor.
Yeah,
like, because
he gave him the money to do it.
He had a bit of money behind him. He had a massive movie behind him now, so... He's probably,
It's like the same as a lot of actors where they do a lot of like big films that are kind of crap, but then they go off and do 10 years worth of indie films because it's what they'd rather do.
Exactly, yeah. I'm excited to see what he does after that.
Yeah, me too.
Sweet. Let's end it there. Cane Dogs, what are we on to for next week?
What are we doing next week, Jim?
Hopefully 1917.
Yeah,
yes.
boy.
That will be great.
A very different war film.
Gentlemen,
that looks sick.
Yeah.
But 1917 is coming up, and that'll be the bomb.
Yep.
Potentially, literally.
Probably there'll be a couple of ones. Yeah. Super excited for that film. Also, definitely watch that and tune in to our next episode next week. We will see you or hear you, or no, we won't do anything.
You'll hear us.
You'll hear us then.
All right. See you then. Bye.
Bye. Shane Warne.
Thank you for listening to the Film Sauce podcast. If you enjoyed that, next week we're also doing war films. We're now only doing war films. See you then.
Exclusively for this episode and the next. Then we'll see.
And then Cats, which sounds like a war in itself.